Hi, this is Kingsley. So in the past 2 years, the pandemic has shown us that we can do more with technology than we previously thought was possible. Now, with the increasing sit-at-homes and lockdowns all over the world, we have come to rely more and more on technology to either keep in touch with family and friends or going shopping online or doing all of these physical things. And the truth is that we have all come to embrace this new pattern of living. So this means that we will continue to see an accelerated rate of digitization and virtualization of business and society. So with all of this in mind, let's look at the top technology trends that we should expect in the year 2022. Now, even before the pandemic broke out, we have long been talking about the Internet of Things and artificial intelligence. But with the way the world now relies on technology to survive, the development of the Internet of Things and artificial intelligence has been accelerated in the last 2 to 3 years. So in 2022, a lot of tech gadgets will be powered by artificial intelligence, general machine algorithms that will be capable of helping us in increasingly innovative ways. So think about it. Your smartphone's AI already makes a lot of decisions for you when you open up the cameras on your phone to take a picture. Now, it analyzes the environment, decides if the photo you take should be warmer or cooler, or if the photos you take should be brighter or darker. Now, what most people still don't realize is that the AI of their phones actually does the heavy lifting for them. Also, with a lot of social distancing being practiced due to the pandemic, self-driving taxis are ready to go into full service from the year 2022. Now, Intel has announced their plans to start offering these autonomous vehicles to the general public from the year 2022. Intel has built their famous Mobileye self-driving systems into these cars that look like regular cars on the streets. You won't even know nobody is manning the cars. Now, these unmanned cars are powered by 8 of Intel's IQ5 5th generation autonomous driving chip. Now, the cars are equipped with 8 cameras to enable them navigate through obstacles in the city and avoid collision with other drivers or other cars on the road. All these hardware systems will allow the autonomous cars to process real-world data. The cars are also equipped with LiDAR and radar sensors in order to collect real-world obstacle or traffic information and pass them to the cloud server, which then directs them on how to navigate. So meaning from 2022, you can book a taxi and a car with no driver will arrive and pick you up, and you have to trust the artificial intelligence system to take you to your destination safely without any fears. And then taking it one step further, we're even talking about smart toilets these days. For instance, a new smart toilet has been developed by Stanford University over in California. Now, this toilet can check a person's health status. The toilet has high-tech motion sensing tools attached inside the bowl of the toilet. Now, one of the most unusual features of this smart toilet is the built-in identification system that reads the user's fingerprints on the toilet flush handle. And even an anus recognition system is also built into this toilet. Now, I didn't even know this existed, anus recognition system. Now, this recognition system helps in identifying each person's sample. Now, the smart toilets records videos of the user's urine and feces, which is then processed by algorithms that can determine the stream and urine volume as well as how hard or soft the poop is. The toilet also uses urinalysis strips to measure the urine's white blood cell count and detect levels of proteins that best determine if the user is healthy or suffering from bladder infections, cancers, diabetes, or a possible kidney failure. The information is stored in a cloud-based server where doctors and healthcare experts can access it at any time, and each person's sample is identified by their fingerprints or anal prints. So in the future, if you go to the hospital for medical attention, the doctors will just have to access your test results via the cloud without needing to send you to a lab to conduct the test first. So whatever your industry or job function, you are likely to find there's an AI-powered solution designed to make your life easier. The Internet of Things is another trend that we will see more in 2022 due to the pandemic and the way we currently live and interact with technology. For those of you who might need a little background clarification of what the Internet of Things is, the Internet of Things, or IoT, refers to the billions of physical devices around the world that are now connected to the Internet while sharing data amongst themselves. Due to the arrival of super cheap computer components and commonly available wireless networks, it's possible to turn anything from something as small as a pill to something as big as an aeroplane into the Internet of Things. So pretty much any physical object can be transformed into an IoT device if it can be connected to the Internet to be controlled or communicated to. So a light bulb in your house that can be switched on using a smartphone app is an IoT device. The fridge in your kitchen that connects to the internet is also considered an IoT device. And at some point, maybe your shoe might as well be converted to an IoT device. And if everything is converted to an IoT device or connected to the internet, that means our lives will just be in the open. During the peak of the pandemic, we experienced the virtualization of our offices and workplaces, as remote working arrangements were swiftly put in place due to the lockdowns that the world was going through. Until this day, most multinational companies, like Shell for instance, allow almost all their staffs to work virtually from home. Companies have come to realize that having their staffs working virtually from home is as effective as being physically present in their offices, and above all, it's quite cheaper for the companies. For instance, because the staffs are working from home, the company does not have to pay cleaners to keep the environment clean. Nobody's drinking coffee, so the cafeterias are closed. The kitchens are non-functional, and because the kitchens are non-functional, there won't be any chefs for the companies to pay. So these multinational companies are paying IT experts to come up with better ways to keep people working from home. Now, the global electronics market started experiencing a rise in demand for true wireless earbuds as early as 2020. And this rise in demand was due to a lot of people working from home. The devices can be easily used for listening to music or attending social events or company meetings via Zoom or Skype. And it has been projected that in 2022, the demand will even be higher, also due to the fact that almost every manufacturer right now is getting rid of the headphone jack and going wireless. Even laptop manufacturers like Asus are getting rid of the headphone jacks from their laptops. So even if you don't like wireless headphones like me, you will be forced to make the switch. And besides, good quality headphones are becoming cheaper and cheaper by the day. Virtual reality will be one of the hottest topics of 2022, with many companies like Facebook and Microsoft working seriously behind the scenes to make sure that users start experiencing the metaverse. Mark Zuckerberg estimated in August 2021 that it could take up to 5 to 10 years before the key features of the metaverse become mainstream. But that is just an estimate because other companies that are fighting for a stake in the metaverse are already far ahead in some of the key features of the metaverse, and they have promised us that from 2022, we will start enjoying some of these key features of the metaverse that Mark Zuckerberg talked about. For instance, Microsoft already uses holograms and is developing mixed and extended reality applications with the Microsoft Mesh platform, which combines the real world with augmented reality and virtual reality. Companies like Epic Games, which is the company that makes Fortnite, is already tapping into the metaverse. They have even held virtual concerts with the likes of Ariana Grande and Travis Scott. So with the amount of efforts that these companies are putting into virtual reality, we're most likely to start experiencing the metaverse in 2022. The blockchain technology has enjoyed massive adoptions in many sectors, from governance to gaming to finance. Companies spent approximately $6.6 billion on blockchain solutions in 2021, and that is a 50% increase from previous years. The number is expected to grow beyond $15 billion between 2022 and 2024. For those of you who don't know what blockchain is, let me give you a light explanation. In economics, a ledger is a book or other collection of financial accounts of a particular type. It can be a computer file that records transactions or a physical file. And a ledger is actually the foundation of accounting and is as old as time and money. In traditional marketplaces, middlemen oversee the exchange of assets. For instance, when you receive your paycheck from your employer, a bank controls the transaction. The bank validates the check, verifies that the employer holds the required funds in their accounts, and records the exchange. This record or ledger documents the transaction and the resulting change in wealth. So you can look at your bank statement and see that you are a little bit richer. For most transactions, a central entity like a bank has sole power over this ledger. So imagine, for instance, that your employer owned the ledger instead of the bank. Your employer could falsely claim that they paid you and manipulate the records to back up their lie. So because of this security risk, neither you nor your employer will be given the sole control of the ledger. Now, due to the advent of distributed ledger technologies, we can safely get our paychecks without needing to trust the bank. So a blockchain is a peer-to-peer computer network that enables multiple members to maintain their own identical records of a shared ledger or a receipt of a transaction, rather than requiring a central authority to update and communicate records to all participants. Blockchains allow their members to securely verify, execute, and record their transactions without relying on the middleman like the bank. And nobody can make adjustments to this ledger or receipts without other participants getting involved. So let's assume Smith and his cousin Jack have a dispute over who owns the furniture shop that they've been co-managing for years. Because the blockchain technology uses the ledger method, the ledger should have an entry showing that Mr. Mark first owned the shop in 1947. When Mr. Mark sold the shop to Mary in 1976, they made a new entry in the ledger. So every change of ownership of this shop is represented by a new entry in the ledger up until Smith bought it from his uncle in 2009. So by going through the history in the ledger, Smith can now show that he is the real owner of the shop. So you can now see why companies are investing billions of dollars into blockchain technology, because it is the safest way to keep records without fear of loss or unwanted tampering with the records. And in 2022, this technology will see more adoption as a lot of people get to realize the importance of the blockchain solution. Almost everything we've talked about might certainly or most certainly depend on 5G. So in 2022, the hype around 5G will continue. 5G phones will become cheaper and there will be an accelerated spread of 5G around the world, even faster than 4G. So happy new year. My name is Kingsley as usual. I guess I'll catch you again in the next video that will come out in a few days time.